This is a power amp board for the Acoustic 260, and on the schematic, depending which one you have, you might find an error if you're trying to repair this board, particularly the 4.7 ohm resistor coming off of the emitter of the 40410 negative side driver of the output driver setup. So we're looking at the back of the board. This is the one with the metal case on it. It's the bottom side. Metal case post here and here. This here is the emitter. This is the collector. Case is connected to the collector as it is with the 404.9 at the top where the 70 volt sits. And then the base is right here, coming into this from the 404.8, just to the left of it if we flipped it over. Base, collector, emitter. The emitter comes out and it's going to the output. Its output is going out to the output transistors, which are the 40411s, and those are on the back of the case. So we followed that. They would leave the board. This particular one, the emitter on the blue-white wire. I'm sorry, this is coming off the emitter and it's going to the collector of the 40411s. Talking about it out loud can get it backwards quite easily. Can I focus down there for you? Focus, focus, and let the back out a little bit. Alright, move that out of the way. It's the reverb. Speaker junction. Come on, move out of the way. So here are the two of the four output transistors. This one is 37. I had to mark it to remember. This one is 35 on the schematic. If we look on the schematic, we are looking right here. Can you focus for me? 35, 37. Here's the 40410. This is the one that we're looking at the back side of. On the schematic, the one I have at least drawn in is that 4.7 ohm resistor right here. And on the schematic, it's showing it's connected to the collector, which essentially it's not. It's flipped. It should be connected right here on the output emitter of the 40410. That output emitter comes on over to the collectors right here, the blue-white wire. So that's the trace of the board. Then it leaves the board, goes to the blue-white wire, which is the collectors of the output. And we can see that right here. So it's coming off of the emitter of the 40410, connecting to the collectors of the 40411s, blue-white wire, or white-blue wire, depending on how you say it. Cat 5, white, blue, white. So white-blue. Collectors are the bolt attachments that collect to the case of the TO3 transistors, which happen to be these. These are the ones that were in it. One of them was shorted. There was a mix of them. There was NTE styles, and then there was a couple Mexicans made MJ 15003Gs. I've now found 4.411s, some originals, and I'll be putting them back in here so they're all at least the same brand. Matched wise gain, not even close because I can only buy a couple at a time. But it'll work. And I know they'll at least be close enough. Hence the output resistors. So this particular board got all kinds of fried up. Shorted transistor or something. Shorted speaker, who knows. But what happened, all these resistors, the output resistors, emitter resistors, got smoked. This rail here got burned off. This is the output rail for the positive side, going to the capacitor before the speaker. So to recap, if you do run across this and you're looking like I was, going, what is going on here? Some boards, depending on the year, and I have a picture, another head that I'm working on, I have a picture printed off that I was using to help trace and get familiar with the board. Some boards actually have the flip. So they brought the 4.7 ohm resistor to the front, and that's connected out here off through the 100 ohm resistor, sharing that trace. So it does show it right here. But on this particular board that I'm working on, it's not the configuration. Now I looked on the other one. I have another one that I'm working on, and it's the same exact way as this. And it functions, the trace is cut off that emitter side. This one's showing, it's hard to say, but that's the black white wire, and that's the yellow white wire. So if we look here, the black white wire is right here, and that is a solo. That's connecting to the 2.9 ohm, 0.29 ohm resistor to ground. Schematic wise, that would be this one here. Because that's the only one by itself. This one here is actually connected to the 100 ohm resistor. The emitter of Q35, which is yellow white, shares that connection. So yellow white shares that connection. There's the 100 ohm resistor right here. Then this is the 0.29 ohm right here. So the 100 from the collector comes in. That's 100 ohm from the collector. But as you see, there is no repeating right now. 4.7 ohm resistor on the collector side. So it's actually on the emitter side. That is the difference. It's flipped or just drawn in the wrong spot on that schematic. Who knows when that was drawn? Don't know. There's a couple other errors throughout this whole entire schematic that if you're going through this, you'll run across. And if I remember where they are, I'll point them out later. But just in case you're looking, blue-white is the collector. So blue-white here is a collector side. Let's be more clarified. Let's clarify this more. The output transistors 35 and 37, the blue-white wire is the collector, and that comes off of right here. That comes off the emitter of the 40410. So we can see the green-white right here. Green-white is connected to the collector of the 40410, and the green-white comes to the base of 35 and 37, Q35, Q37. So here's the collector, 100 ohm resistor, green white wire, going to the base, and it shares, just taps right off that. And we can actually see that physically on the posts. So right here's the green white wire. There's two of them. There's one, two. If you can focus in and see, let me zoom in a little bit. Rack focus. Nope, I have to push in a little. So the green white off the board, and then it taps, comes over to the other base here. So base, the bottom post, closest to the bottom. Collector, and the emitters on the top. That's how these are configured in this set here. Base, emitter, or collector, emitter. Bottom, middle, top. Hopefully if you're working on one of these, you get it working well. Play it well, jam it out, go to a 4 ohm speaker. Someone here, they had all kinds of issues, and they really did their best to get it back to life. They put in a 4,000 microfarad capacitor from Philips, and they also kind of did a output coupling capacitor. They didn't have the 1,000 microfarad one, so they doubled up two of them to make it close, and I measured at about 850, 875 on a small scale. I was cleaning up the post here. So those can go bad, and those are about 25 bucks a piece depending where you find them, if you're trying to buy them new. If you want to get them in the actual can style, not build out a board and actually, you know, kind of update it to some modern stuff. So there we have the output side. Of the Acoustic 260 amp. I was looking up some parts, you know, the 410 and stuff, and I found a Heathkit TA-17 model solid state that was only in production for a little bit. Kind of has the same output driver setup. So if you're looking for some parts or something, there's not many of those, but if you do run a cross run, might be a good little project to snag up. So here's those two bottom resistors that we're looking at. 14, 18. Then we have a 100 ohm right here, so this is where they put the 100 ohm for this board instead of a crossed here. These are your 0.39s. Those are your diodes. D5 through D9 coming down, and then these three right here connecting the base of Q10 up to the output rail. It's part of the bias circuit, which is also over here, adjusting the bias. Definitely could be confusing at first if you're just looking at it, trying to figure out the signal flow. But overall, I think we're getting somewhere on this particular board. Almost ready to fire it up after I fix some of these cables here. Get those reattached, make sure they're all good and not burnt up and shorting out. And soon enough, we'll be able to test it out.